Yes, the traffic is so much easier in the summertime. It is. It's not as bad. You can be on it. Day. Bottom line is, yes, really.
we are getting unmuted, and so we are now live. We've got several people that are joining us virtual, and so it's good to see everybody. Hopefully everybody's summer's going good. It's going fast, as we were saying, school's right around the corner, so, but it's good to see everybody. I guess we'll have our invocation first. John, would you like to lead us?
Dear God, thank you so much for getting everyone safely here this morning. Thank you for the ability that we all have to be here and the opportunity that we have to talk and advocate for the children of the Meyer Center. And God, help our conversation today and help guide us in the way that we should go. We pray in your name, amen.
Thank you. All right, stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the mission statement. The Meyer Center is a nonprofit specializing in early education and intensive therapy services to empower children with disabilities to reach their maximum potential. And we have a vision where we envision a world where all children with disabilities are enabled to learn and thrive in their communities. Now let's go on in approving the agenda for today, or let's see, approval of the minutes of the board meeting from May 20th, 2026. Can I have a motion in a second?
So move. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next, the approval of the agenda for this meeting, July 15th, 2026, board meeting. Motion second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We don't have any public comments today. Okay.
We'll have an update from Abby about polo in September.
All right. No mission moment. Netta, you want to take this?
Sure. So I sent out in the email that I dispersed yesterday. It's event season. It's here. Start of school. Everything is ramping up. If you want to join us on July 21st, we will have part of the Share the Magic event that we've been selected for is a baseball drive at the drive game. So tickets are $9. You can come sit in the sun, bring your hat with me and my family, and about 80-something families from the Meyer Center. So it's just kind of a great day to celebrate. There'll be a marching parade, a little festival for the kids, and just a way to celebrate all the charities that are a part of this event that is very meaningful to our budget and spreading our awareness about our mission. I put the link to buy tickets in the email if you're interested. Also, I put a link in the email to the event that's coming up on September 18th at Green Valley. So it is a benefit concert featuring Diamond Rio. I think the VIP tickets that include access to the clubhouse, air conditioning, and flushing toilets are about sold out. So if that's your jam, you better jump on it now. Otherwise, there's a lot of general admission tickets that we're trying to push that include barbecue, beer, and I think we are going to upgrade the bathrooms. They won't be a true porta-john. They'll be one of those different ones, but it's kind of an on-field, standing-only experience, but a ton of fun. It was a ton of fun last year. So if you want to share the word, get a group, and it's all inclusive with the ticket price. And then Share the Magic. If you are interested, a couple people have said that they are interested. We have a 6-top table as part of our contribution to the Share the Magic event. If you want to attend that event on October 10th, please let me know sooner rather than later so I can make sure that our table is filled with representatives from the Meyer Center. And with that, those are all the events so far. Those are the most pressing ones in the current purview.
There's a lot to come, though.
Yes.
Just a few comments. First off, I just wanted to say thanks to Jim and Carolyn Cassidy. I got to go to the event they held at their farm where they had a little field trip from some of the students here, and thoroughly enjoyed it. The kids, they took several buses of the kids out there, and they got to see the horses and pet the horses. But if you ever go and if you're around the staff from the Meyer Center, it's really impressive to see those those ladies, the teachers and the TAs and the assistants work with these kids. Every one of these kids has their own unique challenges, and so it's not like you've got a cookie cutter of a group of kids that are all in the same. Everybody is a little different, but boy, these teachers are really good, and I think that's an accomplishment to how we've been able to staff and when we hire and onboard and bring people in. Just continue to do a real good job, you and your team and Charles and the staff that does the hiring. We got a real good group of people, and seeing them in action and how they work with the kids, it was just a super fun event. And so, Jim, thanks
Sure.
to you and Caroline for doing that. It was great.
I just like watching the kids smile.
Oh yeah, and seeing them around the horses and how they ooh and ah over the horses and
Getting on the
pictures with them.
tractor.
Yeah, the tractor. So, but it's really rewarding to see, and it's a real accomplishment to how we're doing. Because if you look back at the Meyer Center probably 5 to 10 years ago, there was not as much turnover as we get today. The environment's changing. People will change jobs more for money and the competitive environment and all the things. But historically, you didn't have as much of that. And I don't think that's indicative of how we manage the school today. It's just the environment. So we've got to be very good at it on how we're going to handle turnover.
I
And
will
I
say
think we've
Dave
done
was the
that.
only person that he left quickly so he didn't have to clean the stalls.
Yeah, there's a lot of noise going on in them stalls, and after we were leaving, so I had to get out of there. I don't know who cleaned those things, man. So anyway, I just wanted to mention that, and so thank you again. The second thing is one thing we just got to keep in mind of, and you see it in the news, the state budgets and how we run our model. We rely heavily on state money, with Medicaid money coming in and so forth. And boy, I wish we could get some stability in our state house so we could figure out and know what money we got coming in and what we don't have coming in. And so we just have to be cautious. We've got a good budget. We've got a strong balance sheet. We've got strong financials. But I think from the fundraising and the development, everything looks good. It's just the government side. I wish we could just get a little bit more consistency. And, it's just part of the humps. We just got to make sure we pay attention to it. It's just part of what we do. And we'll talk a little bit about that, but we'll continue to use Emily in our lobbying efforts. But overall, I feel really good about where we're at from that standpoint, the financials and all. But I guess I just wanted to put that comment. Hope we get some stability and they get things passed so we can know what we've got coming ourselves. So anyway, just a little tidbit. That's all I got.
Thank you. All right, well, I obviously didn't finish the slide. So I had a thought, but it didn't get put on the slide. So just kind of wanted to talk about the highlights of this school year. So we have wrapped up a wonderful school year in summer camp. So we are pivoting now and already planning for this coming school year, which is in about 3 weeks, which is really hard to believe, and making sure that we have everything in place for that. So this is our second to last week of summer camp. It has gone well. We're going to have a debrief on that Friday, just to kind of talk about the glows and grows and what we can do better. But looking forward to next year, we will have our 4K inclusion class has 10 classrooms. The construction is complete. It has been completely inspected by a third party. We are moving the furniture in. If you want to see it before you leave, I would highly recommend you do so. The teacher in that room is going to be the envy of every other classroom in the space. It has turned out very nice from a size and storage and just functionality of it. DSS will be here on Monday with the fire marshal to do the final fire inspection, but with the third party inspection, we see no issue and are ready to launch. And we're in the process of programming and all the related arts, but super excited about that and what the benefits that it'll give for our kiddos beyond the Meyer Center.
Did you get help here from did Jake and Joseph?
Yes, they did.
They did.
Yeah, sure, I know. Yeah, I had a hammer. No, budget-wise, it We're,
Yes, we were just a little bit over because of some of the changes that had to happen, but overall, the Packlet Milliken grant will cover the cost of it from the startup cost of the salaries to basically the full first year. So we should be in line there and have no
so
issues.
needless to say, it was a success.
Mhm.
Well, thanks for you guys' help though.
Yeah. And we will we're planning on setting a ribbon cutting just to invite them over. So probably right after Labor Day when things get settled and we've kind of got a good rhythm to our routine, invite Packlet Milliken over for a ribbon cutting and let them see the integration in the classroom and celebrate with them. So when that date gets set, I'll push it out to you guys. Enrollment for next year, when I typed this, we were at 120. We did have a student not show up for their evaluation yesterday, so we're at 119, but very close to being full, and we will be able to fill that hole quickly. 10 in the 4K program, and then next year we're going to double. We're able to double our capacity for the extended day program. So this year was year one. We had 10 kids, and next year we will be able to do 20 kids with the same amount of staff now that we kind of have the kinks and operational logistics worked out. The special programs that we'll focus on next year is a total, and it has already started with training this summer, is a total program evaluation for our 2 Strive classrooms. So we have contracted with Dr. Alita Woods to conduct a program evaluation from the setup of the classroom environment to the schedules, to the curriculum, to the progress monitoring, to the functional behavior assessments, all the things that go into setting those classrooms up for success. And then she will do periodic monitoring to make sure that the program is, and how we set it up, is done and consistent throughout the year, so that we can continue that and then spread some of those same skills across the whole school. And the other special program that we'll launch this year is an adaptive PE program. So our indoor playground will become an adaptive PE. We're going to adopt the Spark curriculum from a company out of Georgia. They use this at kind of a sister school that we benchmarked against. So we will have that in place as a related arts activity and a true PE curriculum for next year. Our demographics are here, still focused on our under 3s at 11. So we have a lot of 3 and 4-year-olds this year, and then kindergarten through 2nd. So roughly this is the grade of our classroom. The disability breakdown is very similar to last year, from our friends to autism, speech, and developmental delays, and then some of the other kind of lower, more infrequent ones. So again, serving all disabilities across all ages and mirroring what has been in years past. So kind of jumping into committee reports, nominating. So it is that season, even though it's still the summer, it is the season. So our slate of candidates for nominating and for the board have to be done and complete and posted by September 15th per our bylaws. So here we'll kind of talk through who that is, and then we'll have the public meeting on September 30th to announce that. That is the opportunity for the electors, who are parents and staff, to also present candidates for election. So that will be the meeting that will be announced and also held. The parent and staff election, or the election of electors, will be on October 15th. The Public Charter Alliance is our third party that conducts that. But this year we will have some big changes in our staff. The term limits for staff for board is 6 years max, and that's 3 2-year consecutive terms, and then you have to roll off. So Dave Gable, our president here, has reached his term limit and will have to roll off. He can remain ex officio as president just for that continuity of knowledge next year, but will not have an active vote. Up for re-election by the parents and staff are Kate, John, and Hall. So as far as I know, they are both all still willing to be re-up for election. So that would be our list of candidates for the October election. Moving on to November, those are board appointed. So term limit, again, is Andriana and Jim Cassidy. So we'll be looking for somebody to pick up his pen and become secretary in
God bless you.
2027. I don't know what I'm going to do without my right arm over here. And then up for reelection are Joseph Williams and Jake Fisher, who I think are also willing to serve. So we have, through the by way of the executive committee, have 3 candidates that we are kind of vetting and seeing if they want to. We've had some conversations over years, and they are Kelly Gregory, potentially Greg Arscott, and also bringing Kirk Shockley back, assuming that we're going to move into construction, kind of in a construction phase. So those are the 3 that are potentially going to move into these spots, but we need to confirm with those individuals to make sure. But we do have others. If you have people that you think that would be suit either from they have to have a business or educational background, and they would suit kind of our long range initiatives. We're trying to bring people on now because, as you know, if you're on the board, the Meyer Center is a complicated place, and it takes probably about a year to get up to speed to really kind of know the regular day-to-day and then be able to help with some of these long-range initiatives.
Yes, from Greg yesterday, by the way.
Oh, nice.
Good.
Sweet. From the governance side, there has been a lot of changes. The one thing that we are doing this year, we have engaged with the law firm, our parent and student handbook, having them review that. They have a great resource of educational law within their firm, so they are currently looking through our parent-student handbook for special ed compliance, just kind of risk and liability. They will have that done at the end of July for our final review, and we can distribute to parents. And I think this will be a good way to vet the code of conduct to make sure that we're compliant with the special ed and IDEA requirements, and also just have can mitigate risk by way of the handbook. The school report cards are underway. We, as a complicated place we don't really fit in any model of a traditional school because of our age band of children. None of them do state testing, so most school outcomes are related to standardized state testing. So this is the academic, financial, and operational framework that the district does for all schools, and I recognize it's a little bit hard to read there. But on the academic side, because of our age band of kiddos, we don't fall into a lot of these English language arts and math areas for test scores because our kids aren't tested. We have partially met our academic goals through way of our charter. Those have changed. We voted on those in May, so those have changed, and we should have no issue with that going forward. From a financial side, we are in good shape. Approximately $42,000 is spent on each pupil per year. That's what it costs to take. That's what it costs to provide for one child in any given year. And then operationally, good job, you guys. Everybody is trained. The FOIA compliance is at 50%, and those are based on the website postings that we have to do. And there's a whole nother list. I've got to have the website updated with even more things by September 1st. The one area I think that is of concern but will improve is in the IDEA compliance. We were bumped down to a tier 3 this year because of the state complaint, but that is working to be resolved and should be corrected by next year's cycle. So changes to the charter law highlighted in yellow are really the changes that affect us. So I sent out the revised bylaws yesterday. The new charter law specifically says that the term staggered terms have to be utilized in the bylaws. So we met with governance and in a joint executive committee meeting, reviewed that language. The red line version was sent out yesterday to add that language to our bylaws, and it will be an action item that we vote on. It's the only change to our bylaws, is just making sure that we do staggered terms, and that is for the continuity of knowledge, that not everybody rolls off at the same time, and then you lose the leadership and the history of the organization. Currently, the ones not highlighted in yellow, we currently meet. We do election notice is posted on the website 30 days in advance. We haven't done that on the website. We've done it internally through our Teams channels to parents and staff, but now we'll do the public and make sure that that 9:30 meeting is posted on the website. And then this will be the item here. After the first year in office, all board members must attend annual training provided by the authorizer. That is a new requirement. I think I touched on it briefly and then couldn't remember where I had seen it or heard it, but it is part of the charter law now. The authorizer means our district. So our district will be creating trainings that we as a board will have to go through on an annual basis in addition to that initial training that you guys just did. So it will probably cover issues like FOIA, the fiduciary responsibilities of the budget. I think the legislature's main concern is to really have the districts have strong oversight over schools and that schools don't go out of business because of financial issues.
Is this most likely online?
I would think
Maybe.
so, or they could hopefully come here in person and do it as a group with us as a whole. That would be ideal.
Yeah.
I've not gotten anything other than this statement.
It's not like 2 hours or 4 hours or anything.
I
just
don't know.
Yeah, for a while, I was still getting stuff like from Columbia, like to
Mhm.
come down to Columbia and do the training,
Yeah.
and, yeah, which is obviously.
Andreana's in the waiting room.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Can't manage my Starship Enterprise here. In the lobby or in the?
No, I think she's in, no, I think,
Oh,
yeah,
did he just run?
I think, yeah,
Yeah.
'Cause I think that door's open.
My bad.
Oh,
I'm using Zoom language.
Oh, you mean in the
In-
lobby?
in the waiting room
Ah,
here.
I got you.
Ah.
In this waiting room.
okay.
The virtual waiting room.
Yeah, the virtual waiting room. My bad, Dave.
No.
Thank you for your valiant effort.
Just trying to be useful. Whatever we do there, we will help make it convenient for the board, though, if, whatever the training, we will try to help facilitate and do it all together, whatever, to make it as most convenient to everybody.
I don't see her.
She's really virtual. She's floating.
I'm trying to call her in, thinking that'll help. I'm scared to touch too many things that I'll mess up the streaming. Ask her to, I'm calling her from via Teams. If she'll answer it, she'll be in the meeting.
Okay.
So the kids that are here right now are part of the camp.
So,
Yes.
yeah.
I just forwarded it to her, so it should be in her minutes.
When was the trip to, when was the trip to your farm? Was it this
So
recently?
last Wednesday.
Last Wednesday? I know, yeah, because I came to that last year, I don't know if you recall that, but I did it,
Mhm.
I did it,
Yeah.
yeah, I did it last year, it was,
Mhm.
it's a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's probably my favorite one.
They all had beer and wine. They were really happy.
Didn't think the kids would drink that much.
Okay, well, I'll keep an eye on it over here. Okay, so yes, but to Dave's point, we'll keep it convenient and try to get them to come here so that we can all enjoy it at the same time. The other change that is coming is that DSS, if there's a requirement for DSS abuse and neglect registries and criminal history checks are required for employees, board members, and volunteers who regularly contact students. Currently, we do that for all employees, and if you are a level 2 volunteer, you also go through that. So because the board is here for meetings, we will not do that for our board, but we will, if you are interested in volunteering in a room and being a more in-depth part of one-on-one interaction with the kiddos, then you would need to go through that process. So that's really just a point for information, not a requirement right now. The other change is really, most of the changes related to the charter law have been involved around the website, public transparency, and financial. And so the annual budget that will include debt, we currently post that on the website, and we'll add the debt portion to that, the debt that we have on this building. The other requirement, and we're working with our contracted CFO, is that there must be a searchable transaction register for all expenditures over $100, no matter what it's for, whether it's a development expense or whether it's supplies and materials for children. So that will have to be posted on our website monthly. So we are working through that requirement, and that will be a report that our contracted CFO provides to us. So it will have to be redacted for employee information and posted to the website. I did ask the question that, because so much of our 40% of our budget is development and fundraising that is not governmental funds that are spent for direct care of children, if those could be waived or segregated out somehow, and it is every single transaction over $100.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, it's silly.
Nobody.
Yeah, I don't know. I just,
And tell them why that came about. I mean, there is a reason why they did it, but it's when the pendulum swings so far, I guess.
it is, and I think as charter schools were created in 1997 with the idea that they would have better outcomes than traditional districts. And that hasn't really played out in the way that it was envisioned when it was first created. And there has been authorizers, there's been Limestone, the public charter district, and also Erskine. Those have been the authorizers that can do statewide authorization and become districts for charter schools. Limestone went out of business because of financial management and left about, I think, a little more than 14 schools just kind of hanging without an authorizer. So our district ended up taking on the majority of those schools, and so they have found a home. But Erskine has been under severe scrutiny from the Education Oversight Committee for its financial management. So this is the legislature's effort to make sure that districts and authorizers in schools are held accountable to, and the boards, for the fiduciary responsibilities of the schools. So this was previously a requirement of just only districts, and now it's being funneled down to at the school level as well. This will also apply to credit card statements. So anything that is posted, used on a credit card, must be posted within 30 days of payment on a card. So, and you can't bundle, you can't just do multiple $20 purchases to avoid that $100 threshold. So you have to be very transparent about it. But we are switching our credit card system, and in fact eliminating credit cards so that we don't have even that worry card to deal with.
I assume whoever's programming that's redacting all the account numbers.
No, you have to put the account number, you have to write a detailed description in the note, you have to put the amount, and basically say exactly what the
Not
purchase
the
is
credit
for.
card number.
Oh, yeah, the credit card number, yes.
Thanks to Sloan and Jim, though, for helping on a lot of this review, because there's a lot to this reviewing these kind of documents, and it does help facilitate a lot of the process.
The other changes to the charter law, they're not here, but will be long range if and when we move to building a building, construction, charter renewal, and or securing financing for any of that. There are charter law mechanisms that we'll have to go through, but right now those do not apply to us, but will as if and when things like that change. The other action item that we'll have at the end of the meeting is, and was distributed yesterday by email, is the Medicaid billing transition. So as of July 1, the Meyer Center is fully responsible for managing all Medicaid and insurance claims related to rehabilitative services in a school. So far, it's going very well. Katie is really taken it and wrapped her arms around it, and I don't think it's going to be as heavy of a lift to implement like the managing the claims and the notes. I think where we'll still need to keep our eye on the ball is how the whole reconciliation process works. That's always been the challenge with the match and how the money comes in, when it's posted, how it's passed through. The charter amendment, the process that we used to be able to move down this path, to be able to take this on without becoming our own district, was that we amended our charter contract. And so currently, as it stands, the district will hold the contract with the vendor, the EMR, the management product. They'll also hold the contract with the Department of Health and Human Services. But outside of that, the Meyer Center will be responsible for all of the credentialing and compliance to make sure that their MPI number that we're billing under is not in jeopardy in any sort of way. And they will pass through all funds that come in to the Meyer Center so that we can have a better reconciliation process of those funds. But the state match is still kind of the complicator in all of that because of the time. We have no control over the timing. So Katie and I are meeting on Thursday to figure out what our processes and reporting and our checks and balances will be so that we're ahead of that.
So the process where you received like just a percentage of the funds up front and they held a bunch because of the mat, all that's over, you're getting 100%.
Yes. And then we'll have to pay back the match as it's calculated, so it will go backwards instead of being withheld.
So we
And
can
this is-
delay a year paying them like they did that
Well,
one.
of course, that's common practice, right?
This is a good thing though, because
Yes.
we won't leave money on the table.
Table.
Because that's what we've been doing with having it not in our control. And
Yeah.
so this is, it'll be more work, but Meta understands. You've learned a lot about this process, haven't you?
More
But
than I might
we
have
will
wanted
not
to
leave
ever
money on
know.
the table, which is, we have been because of the district. I mean, it's
Do we have
been
enough
shameful.
insurance coverage for that, the fiduciary?
Well, all of our insurance is at the max level that we can get from the liability standpoint and the umbrella. Because when we met with our insurance reviewer, we can't get any more insurance unless we switch carriers, I guess, but I don't know if that's possible.
How much money do we pass through there?
It's almost $1 million.
We got that much covered? Okay.
The other changes that were happening by way of the state budget, so currently the South Carolina state budget is operating under a continuing resolution, which means that the budget has not been passed. So they're basically spending last year's dollars in anticipation of the budget being spent. What that means for us is that we will not see the additional $83,000 in the proviso that we've asked for in the increase until the budget's passed, and I don't see an issue with that going through. The other risk factor there will be that I think most earmarks will be eliminated. There was an ask for, because of our property deal and situation falling through, an ask for $3 million to be allocated towards property. I highly doubt that any earmarks will pass through this budget cycle. So that money that we kind of anticipated being able to utilize for our long-range plans is likely not going to come to fruition this year, and who knows, in the next year. So that the other thing that, because we'll be operating on a continuing resolution until the budget is passed, we will be paid for services. Our EIA and EFA funding will be paid on last year's rates and enrollment. So until the budget is passed and those numbers are adjusted at the Department of Education, will be paid based on last year's enrollment until it's passed and the 45th day count is done again.
Passed in the House budget, wasn't any more. Doing that.
What did Emily say? I think I have
It
to
was-
look up her email.
At the time we talked to her, she didn't know if it was originally put in there in the draft, but whether it made it, she wasn't sure at that time.
It was.
But she was not optimistic it was gonna make it. But she hadn't seen it as of that time. But we talked to her. We talked to her again Friday, and we'll get an update.
Yeah. It had originated in the House and was gonna go to the Senate and then back, but I don't think it's gonna go anywhere at this point.
No, probably not.
That's my comments in the earlier part of this, these numbers, I mean, they're not, we've got a budget and we're trying to live by it, but we're still living because of the way the government funding is and all that. It's kind of disappointing that we can't know how to plan our business, but it is what we have to manage through.
It is. So it's switching. Are there any more questions on the governance side, because the governance usually doesn't have a whole lot, but right now y'all are taking the taking the trophy home. So we'll switch kind of to HR. We had a meeting, joint HR meeting and joint HR and finance meeting to discuss some of the changes that are coming there. So we'll quickly go through those. One of those in the employee handbook that I distributed is a change to our paid leave time policy. Those were minimal changes to our annual process that allow 2 personal days so that we aren't borrowing time and having unpaid leave. So minimal changes to the accruals at whatever level you are in tenure, but also just how the mechanisms of how people can use it, because it doesn't start accruing until July. And if you are going to go somewhere in July, it just created a lot of going into the negative and catching back up. So the addition of 2 personal days will kind of be a mechanism to make it an easier path for everybody. The change that has a financial impact is a change to what we internally call our FMLA banks. So we've had 2 banks of time. You have your annual time that you get just for your days off. Minimum is 10 days off, and that increases based on your tenure. At the end of a calendar year, at June 30th, if you do not use all of your annual time, there were 2 pathways for you to be able to either be paid out for that, get paid out dollar for those unused days up to 5 days, or you could roll it over into what we informally called our FMLA bank. And there were restrictions to that use of time. You could bank it up to 120 hours, and it was intended to be a pathway from a very antiquated PLT system into where we are now. So the PLT carryover would allow you, it would be used for emergencies, long-term sickness would have to be documented by a physician. So basically it goes from having a value of 1 day of pay to basically not really having a value, and you're very limited in how you can use it. So as a group, the recommendation was that we eliminate that bank of time, and we just pay out any unused days up to 5 days going forward. There were a total of 11 people who had time in that bank time, and the payout at 100% of their hourly rate would be about $37,000. The logic behind that was that it is a liability on our books. So currently, you have that liability that can grow over time. And because we are in a good cash position, we felt like that this was the time to, number one, to stop that process, pay out any used time, educate employees about short-term disability policies if they feel like they need that, and then eliminate that liability from growing any further down the road. And then finance, Paige and I are going to try this. I know last time it didn't work out so great when we tried to do this, but I think let's try it with you presenting. If you'll unmute, and then if it doesn't work, then I'll take the lead. How about that?
Okay, can everybody hear me okay?
Yes. So far, so good.
Great. So far this year through May, we have, excellent results again this year, outperforming the budget. Revenue is ahead of budget. The process with getting reimbursed government funds has been much smoother this year. The cash flow has been much more regular. Still not perfect, but better than what we saw last year. And then we also had that employee retention credit received in September, which was $400,000. So all of that contributed to our good results. Our fundraising has been much better than expectation, and then we also had some year-end appeal in December, and then lastly, in the month of May, which seems like a long time ago now, but the Kids Classic was a huge success. We do have some expenses that are over budget. We're going to look at that in another couple of slides. All of those were intentional or needed things that needed to be done. Our cash balance through May is at about $5.8 million, still very strong. And I didn't expressly say this in my notes, but we are undergoing, or we are, entering our time of, year-end close here through June. So in July, August, and even September, our contracted CFO, Varys, will be working closely with our auditor, David Smith, to wrap up the prior year. And because we have a hard deadline of October 15th to submit our audit, we are incorporating progress review meetings with our finance meetings over the next couple of months. And then once we get to October, we'll see where we are, and if we need any additional meetings, we will go ahead and get those on the calendar. Any questions? All right, let's go to the next slide. If you look here, you can see where, the actual components of our revenue, our, 3 or 4 major components here. Government funds, like I said, much smoother this year. There'll still be a couple of true ups there, but right on budget. Our fundraising, ahead of budget there and through May, and then our donations and giving, also ahead of budget. There on the other line item, the $400,000 that I mentioned for the EGOC credit during COVID, that's where you see that $411,000. So far through May, 6.5 million versus a budget of 5.9. So a great result as far as revenue goes. Looking at the next slide, if you look down through the components there, our compensation below budget, that would have to do with some positions that we just didn't refill once we had turnover. Or turnover, that kind of thing. Some of that is offset down on one of the line items for contract services, where we hire substitute teachers or backfill, when we have holes in our employment or our headcount. Fundraising expenses are a little bit over budget. A lot of that has to do with the fees that we incur when we're collecting money, either through paying through QuickBooks or the fees through some of the other groups that we use to collect. I would also say that school administration, supplies, that kind of thing, all that has to do with computers and curriculum that we've bought. But still, total expenses, $44,000 over. I would also just add that embedded in one of those line items also is a couple of big repairs for our buses, where Meta noted in our finance committee meeting that we had 2 transmissions to replace this year in buses. But you can see for total cash flow and our profit and loss there, almost $800,000 in profit versus the $100,000 in our budget. So a great result, $667,000 over budget, or better than budget. Any questions there? Okay, Meta, I think you covered everything on the next slide with the changes. I had just, for the finance committee, I had summarized the items here for changes with financial reporting. But we talked about that. We're pretty happy that we had Varys assisting us with some of the heavy lift. So that's quite a bit of work relief off of our plates to be able to get them to assist. Any questions?
That's some pretty good financial management there. Who's doing that, Meta?
Paige.
So, no, tell you what, that's a nice looking budget.
Paige is reporting, Matt is doing the hard work.
Yeah, that's fantastic management and results.
Well, as a reminder, as we talk about governmental funds and fundraising, like the sand can shift in any one of those buckets at any point. And I think when we talked about salaries and benefits being 85% of our budget. That's always where we, is where we feel it, and as wages rise, and now that we've struggled with this year's budget to make the top and the bottom really equalize in a way, the share the magic is kind of our gravy on the top line this year. So just keeping our eye on the ball that yes, we need really tight financial management, but we have reached our plateau in our annual budget cycle without some sort of either additional income or reduction in headcount, and that's kind of not where I want to go. So that's just that's how you do that math. But we have a wonderful staff, and we have issued out letters for new pay letters and pay increases this year. And so I do think we're in a good spot to be able to manage what we have and potentially grow in some minor areas, but there's really no room for significant growth other than, say, planned giving, but that's kind of a wild card, or outpatient therapy, which is really a revenue stream. So more to come, but this year is a plateau.
And all the staff signed coming back?
Yes, we are fully staffed. So we are, I know that'll be a nice change at the beginning of the year to have everybody in place for staff week, to be able to start strong, have a new program, and yeah, so we're in a good spot. So long-range planning, we'll kind of talk about some of the things in executive session, but the long-range goals, I just kind of, one of my little goals was to celebrate. And so last year we started our extended day program. We're going to double its size, off to a great start. The 4K program start at a minimum threshold. I see great opportunities for that to grow and be a valuable part of our programming going forward. The adaptive PE will be this year, and then to be determined, a modified outpatient therapy and or moving into intensive. So that'll be where our research and benchmarking goes this year, to see where and how we can evolve into that. But still keeping our eye on the ball of either building a new state-of-the-art campus somewhere else, or doing something here with an effort of serving more children who are on our waiting list and specializing some of our programs to provide better services for our populations.
Okay, now we're gonna go into executive session, so can I have a motion in a second? All right, so we are now,
hang on.
oh,
I need to mute. Okay, we are back live. No action, say that for me, no action.
No action taken in the executive session.
Okay. So now on to Meyer Center business and things that we've talked to. So the first motion would be the amendment of the charter contract for the, to amend the section 5.4 for the rehabilitative services that Meyer Center will operate that.
Okay, can I have a motion and a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Second one is to adopt the employee handbook as presented and the elimination of the FMLA bank and payout at 100%.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
And the third one is the amendment to the bylaws to add the language for, specifically add the language for staggered terms as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And then KDS.
Yes. And then to adopt the agreement and enter into an agreement with KDS for real estate.
Jay, once you
So move.
back on, since you're back on, how was that? What was the purpose of that agreement? So we can have it publicly, not in executive session. To engage them to help us in the lane search. Yes. Okay. I make that motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, well done. On the back of your agenda are all the events that will be between now and the end of the year. So it will be very, very busy, so please mark your calendars, plan to participate, and help us put the fun in fundraising, because that is what we do. Do want to, as a reminder, Staff Week starts August 3rd. Breakfast that we provide that morning is provided by the staff, is provided by the board. I'm going to orchestrate it all. So, but if you want to show up, do a welcome, say hello, meet some of the team in a more informal setting, I'd welcome you to do that. And then the first, August 3rd, is, yes, at 7, we'll start at 7:30 in the morning.
I'm gonna do the.
Yes, I need to get with the date on you.
Informational session again today, but quick note on that, we're 2 years in, so to give some of y'all a history. A couple of years ago, it was an older advisor, no longer had a relationship with the firm. I mean, he seemed like a nice individual, but there was no service. And on the higher fee side, me and my team took it over for no fee, and participation rate was at 40%, now at 75%. On the 403B, I think
Awesome.
if you have a company and it's over 50, that's a win. At 75, that's pretty good. We've helped several employees with things like cash out refinances of their homes, pay off some debt. Like it's our employee base is not, typically coming in with millions of bucks, but they got a lot of issues that we can kind of position for them. So I think that's gone really well, and we'll, have a chat with them again here in a couple of weeks. But yeah, I mean, 75% participation, the average contribution rate is 7%. Our match is $1 up to 5%, so that's all working really well. And as we're talking about new things and new employees, there's always benefits that we can put together to attract, ambitious therapists, right? Because that's what we need, ambitious people that want to create a business there. But on the 403B side, and I can present more information at the next board meeting for visuals, but that's pretty good. So 2 years in, that's going well. And we'll have a time to come and talk to them at the staff kickoff.
Yes, you were on my to-do list.
How big is that fund?
2.5 now. Yeah. Now we had several older employees that had 500, 600. And so that's with those 3 in particular being gone. So that's a pretty cool growth rate in 2 years, and its average account balance is like 37,000. So that's pretty cool too. That means 75%.
That is good.
So very positive.
What time's the staff breakfast?
7:30 a.m. Every day, Jim, every day. And then also related to polo, I just wanted to thank you all for participating at the level that you have in polo, and for Pinnacle for being our presenting sponsor. We're looking forward to a great year. There are 2 8-top tables if you know somebody who's interested, but we are sold out. So if you want in, get in now, but otherwise It'll be here on October 18th.
Abby's gonna start sending those invoices out, I think.
Yes, I
What's
think
that?
she's,
What was that?
Polo.
polo.
Yeah.
So it should be a good time. And then I'll-
Sold out, really,
Yeah,
already?
well, it's just 2 tables, 8 top tables, but they're at a $3,000 price point, so, if you're interested, but.
Okay.
And if you can't fit in, let me, I'll give you some.
Okay.
Be in the pinnacle tent.
Okay.
I can tell you, right now, we're in kind of a lull. This is a soft board meeting and everything, well, nice, it's kind of, I mean, fast, I guess, because it's not even 10 o'clock. Just planning forward in the next couple, I would expect, at least on your calendars, 8:30 to 10:30, but I think they're gonna be a little longer. The amount of activity and information is gonna pick up, I think. It always does in the quarter. And, so right now, we're in a lull, enjoy it. And, but I think after this, the board meetings are gonna pick up a little bit with the amount of information and maybe go a little longer. So, just FYI. Okay, I guess with that, we'll adjourn. All in favor? Okay, we are adjourned.
Thank you all.
I'd like to go see the new room.
Hang on, we'll walk over there and
Yeah.
get